Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is.
It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, "He is our son and he is our thief."
If you are deviant
Yes.
and I call you leader, probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth in the security, governance, and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers, do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
Way back in 1998, the late Secretary General of the United Nations by name Kofi Annan thought of an idea, brought an idea of saying the only way to bring world order where crimes committed that are not punishable in local courts, local countries, regional courts could be taken to an international crimes court. The Rome Statute and Rome Treaty of 1998 July was an offspring of already cooked DSGE intelligence system mechanism to keep Africa under check. Up to date, the French government pays 70% of the salaries of the International Criminal Court, from the porter to the judge to the prosecutor and the rest of the other people. This was a project of Kofi Annan and the Kofi Annan Foundation, followed by George Soros as an accomplice of Kofi Annan, brought in by Luis Moreno Campo and the entire system of the West, some countries in the West, to keep check on African countries that did not agree with the policies of the French and to their policies of Western culture. The International Criminal Court Chief Prosecutor Luis Moreno Campo agreed in all this that yes, he has been picking money, extra monies, and we followed the story together with my group in France, powerful investigators in France who worked together with me, and we found out that, truly speaking, Luis Moreno Campo, Fernandez Gomedi, the former judge, the president of the International Criminal Court, laundered the money, some coming from American banks themselves. This evidence was put in the ICC. In the case of Bashir versus the chief prosecutor, I filed an application which I still have and which I'm going to publicize again so that people can know that I was right. I've been vindicated because the American friends now have found that my credibility is real, that I was right when I stood up to say this court is corrupt. This court loaned us money, $17 million of United States money, loaned through Bahamas, through New York banks, back to Ocampo's personal assistant by then, called Fernandez Gomedi Silvia, who later on rose to the ranks of becoming the president of International Criminal Court. It has taken us time, energy, efforts, resources to investigate the corruption scandal that have rocked the International Criminal Court. Why should African countries continue to be in the ICC? Yet even superpowers like America are saying no, we have enough courts to try our own people. Viewers, it has taken Americans over 20 years to listen to our voices when we told Rainberger in Nairobi that this court is a corrupt court.
Today, on the eve of September the 11th, I want to deliver a clear and unambiguous message on behalf of the President of the United States. The United States will use any means necessary to protect our citizens and those of our allies from unjust prosecution by this illegitimate court. We will not cooperate with the ICC. We will provide no assistance to the ICC, and we certainly will not join the ICC. We will let the ICC die on its own. After all, for all intents and purposes, the ICC is already dead to us.
A case of the Kenyan people. These cases in Kenya, the chief prosecutor called Fatou Bensouda put serious statements at the end of the cases, discharge and termination. In legal language, these cases pose a very serious threat in the future. What the people of Kenya can do, and they should do, is today to wrap up the work envelope. Because until this envelope is sealed, thrown in Indian Ocean, the chief prosecutor in the future will come and look for that envelope, use it to incriminate people again. It brings me back to the situation. America is sealing its journey out of the ICC. Why do you wait? Why don't you take this opportunity to seal your journeys out of the ICC? America is quitting, warning that it cannot no longer be a party to such an obnoxious court, a court that has no powers, that talks from this side and vomits from the other side, a court that cuts and pastes evidence, a court that buys witnesses, a court that incites incentives, gives incentives to witnesses of a passport and a relocation, then you tell lies about people. A court that sentences you as per the words there. Why should you leave a country that has a jury that checks on what the judges would do, the excesses of judges, and go to a country, a court that has no jury? Time has come for Africa to think. Do we need this court? Does Africa need this court?
we call for a non-violent revolution. We call for a non-violent protest. We call for a non-violent march. This is what we are demonstrating to the world, and we have resisted Mr. Biya's army of occupation in our land, but this is a moment that we must continue to stand firm.
Of this nation.
Along with many other Cameroonians, many of you, as far back as the early 90s, and more frequently lately, I have insisted upon the imperative nature of genuine dialogue. Unfortunately, the government's solution has been cosmetic reforms and repression. Teachers, lawyers who raised legitimate concerns were either arrested or forced into exile. Doctors, important people in our society who asked for genuine dialogue, were met with punitive transfers and humiliation. It is regrettable that the government hasn't learned from the past.
We are ambassadors. We don't need anything again. The only solution to the matter is let the government solve this problem by giving our independent freedom.
We have a territory of our own. We recognize international boundaries. We have a language. We have a culture. We have our own laws. We have everything that is required by international standards to be a people and a nation and a state. The UN must give us this right.
We as a people, we have the right to self-determination, and we are determined to go our separate ways.
The people of the Southern Cameroons have suffered under the brutal regime of the annexationists, La République du Cameroon. We have suffered for 56 years, and we finally decided that enough is enough.
I think dialogue is the main solution, because the use of military has never been a solution to a problem concerning this kind of issues. So the government of Cameroon has to dialogue with the Anglophone regions to come to a compromise and let this problem be solved.
Now, we want to inform the whole world that the Southern Cameroonian prisoners of conscience in the jails of Yaoundé are on the second day of their declared hunger strike. Now, we want the entire world to know, because we are convinced that the regime in Yaoundé will be indifferent until they begin to die. While we encourage our brothers in this process, we also call on Southern Cameroonians to join them in a fasting, so that the whole world may know that we are a determined people.
Self-determination cannot be effective without self-defense. We are opposed to violence. We are opposed to war. But if La République, if the UN should continue to dilly-dallying as they are doing, and La République comes now to attack our people, they are forced, they are bound by the law of nature to defend themselves.
Hail this land of glory, we the Amazonians pledge our loyalty.
We discuss Africa. We see what ails Africa. And today, this afternoon, we want to see whether Sudan will permanently remain a sick child of Africa. Is it a permanent sickness? Can we resolve the issues of Southern Sudan? Is it something that has gone wrong for 200 years? There has always been a problem in Southern Sudan, in that great region, starting from all the way the Alimadi Wars and the rest of all what happened until today. Peace seems to be elusive. Why has UN taken slow action? Why hasn't UN set up a tribunal? We want to see a tribunal that will make sure that Southern Sudan people are accountable. Those who committed crimes against the human beings. 20,000 Sudanese perished. They are perished. They are not accountable for. Nobody can account for them. And we cannot sit here, go on hammering peace agreements without mechanisms of accountability. If we set a tribunal for Sierra Leone, for Rwanda, for Cameroon Rouge, we need somebody to stand up for the poor masses, the masses that have died, the masses that continue to die, the masses that are being brutalized, murdered, maimed on a daily basis by marauding armies of both Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. There must be an accountability. You are not going to sit here and tell people there is no accountability in Southern Sudan. There must be a tribunal. Why do we run to harass countries of Kenya? Put ICC on Kenya, put ICC on this country, put ICC on Central African Republic. Why have we delayed on putting a tribunal for Southern Sudan to find out who is killing, who has been killing, how they have been killing people? Let me speak for the people in Southern Sudan, the women, the children who have not gone to school, the children who have no medicine, the children who have nothing, who have been running since 2013, and the war cannot end because of two people. Let them face the tribunal. I'm not going to keep quiet as a Pan-African to see Southern Sudan being maimed, being tortured, being cut, dismembered, and we keep quiet and watch people got images of people, of malcontents singing to us in Uganda, in Kenya, in Ethiopia, in South Africa, telling us they have money. Let them face the international tribunal and tell the tribunal who gave them the guns, where they buying them, how they were killing people. Enough of is enough. Enough is enough for Africa. We have had enough. There is no need of that anymore. Enough is enough. And if people have died, they will not cry. We people who are left on planet Earth must cry for them. We must find justice for them. We must make sure that there are leaders who go on bragging on television stations all over the world, who are accountable. They must be behind bars. Your Excellency President Museveni, the CCTV is very good. In Nairobi, in the CBD where people used to carjack people, at night kill people, it is safe. Here now in the CCBD, you can relax with your car because the police are watching. Mr. President Museveni of Uganda, that is it.
The cameras will be under the police, and what overexposure is there? You are not naked on the streets. You are walking, going to buy something. You are driving. So what are you, like I'm seeing you now, how are you exposed? Or how am I exposed? Because you say I'm seated here, you are seated there. We are not in the cameras are not in people's bedrooms. They are not in people's sitting rooms. They are in the public, on the streets and on the highway. So they are only for security.
within 6 months, he wajambazi who are killing people in Kampala will be gone. Install the CCTV in Kampala and other cities and everywhere. Allow people to install. Hii wajambazi watajulikana. Yes, because even when you install your Casimolo CCTV, atakuua lakini ataonekana na pikipiki.
These cameras will stop all those bad driving, vandalizing electricity lights, vandalizing furniture. That's what they are for.
Go to Israel and buy them. Mr. President, don't give people money. They are going to eat. They will just inflate the price. That's the only way another way of fighting corruption. Because they will install things that don't work.
Thank you very much, viewers. Good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for watching us. I want to thank Miriam for holding the fort. And again, before I go further, please. There's now the situation of the World Bank.
It is Biafra's Heroes Day. What is the problem?
Thank you very much, viewers, Biafrans, wherever you are, Nigerians, wherever you are. This is the People's Court today, this afternoon. It is exactly 52 years since the war ended. But have the people, are the people silent? Is Nigeria silent? Are people still killing each other? Is Buhari igniting a new war? Has Bugari started killing people? The answers to these questions are yes. Buhari, as a general who fought in 1967 war, has taken a further step in destroying the Biafrans, in destroying the southeastern parts and most of the parts of southeastern Nigeria. Nigeria is not the same. Nigeria has no democracy. The type of democracy you see in Nigeria is cosmetic. It is a democracy to hook funders, investors, to say there is some semblance of leadership in Abuja. There is no semblance. There is no leadership in Abuja. Abuja has got a cloned man. Cloned. Is it cloned?
Yes.
Cloned. This is not the Buhari we knew. The Buhari we knew speaks differently. This one speaks another language that we don't know. 6 or 7 years ago, General Yakubu Gowon and Ojukwu had to square it out after the overthrow and the slaughter of the then Prime Minister and others in a military coup led by General Aronsi. It is from here that Nigeria started going wrong way. It is from that coup in 1965, I think so, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I'll look at the date of the military coup. 1965 was Ghana. I think the first coup took place. I will find out. And the Nigerian there can refresh my mind because I have I'm blank. Let's get this very clear on this. After General Aronsi, from that day, Nigeria never went back. The killing of all the people, the powerful governors who had supported a better Nigeria, plunged this country into a very serious crisis that ended up with the Biafran war. The marginalization of these people, of the Nigerian, of the Biafrans, the torture, the inhuman treatment, the slaughter of Biafrans in the army at that time left them with no alternative but to seek a way of self-defense. Ojukwu took a declaration and said enough is enough. If people don't want us in the republic, then let's have our own republic. Indeed, Ojukwu was not wrong. Today, it is 1966 years. I missed with one year because I was thinking of the Ghanaian, the one that toppled President Kwame Nkrumah.
Because the war started in 1967.
Yes, the war in 1967. 1966, a military coup took place led by General Aronsi. Aronsi himself betrayed so many of his people, betrayed very many, slaughtered very many, killed very many generals, killed very many officers from the south, from the east, from the Biafran, the Igbos were slaughtered. When you look at from that point, a coup had just taken in one of the first countries that got independence. President Nkrumah had been overthrown.
Yes.
This way in Nigeria, the second country also that got independence, that followed Ghana. Tafa Batalewa, the name is mixing itself, was also killed. These were most powerful, well-organized, the first educated Nigerians who wanted to deliver a united Nigeria. The murder of the first prime minister, the removal of the government, post-independence government, plunged this country into the chaos that we are left in up to today. Those divisions have not gone away. You talk of anybody, if it is Buhari, Obasanjo, they are the same. These are the same men who conspired against the Biafrans. The men who are coming up leading Nigeria conspired against Biafrans. Biafrans have been left to defend themselves. That's why you see the killings that are taking place today, 52 years after the war ended. The killings have they have started, they have been going on. Younger men, their throats cut, villages destroyed. The army, instead of fighting Boko Haram, the army has been told to go in the south to kill Biafrans, to slaughter Igbo people, torture them, beat them, rape them, do all sorts of inhuman treatment that is being put on the people of Biafra. The only problem that the Biafran people have, only thing that they have asked is a referendum. They have said, give us a referendum. If you don't want us to be in Nigeria, then give us a referendum to decide whether we like the rest of the people want or not. There's no need of imprisoning all Nigeria. He can't imprison all Biafrans. He has to do something. Any leader coming out in Nigeria has to do something about the Biafran issue. If you don't do something about it, it will eat your leadership, it will destroy your leadership. You must talk to them. You must give them what they want, and what they want is a referendum. Full stop, period. They are not looking for any concessions. They have tried it in 1967. The world came to its standstill.
3 years of brutal
war.
Mm-hmm.
It ended. Mm-hmm. I'm a Ugandan, but the negotiations took place in my country. Why I share a lot of sentiments with Nigerians and plenty of them with Biafrans is that the peace process that Ahmad silenced the war was done in Kampala. My late president, whom I worked for, whom my father died working for, and I also follow up to today, the late Milton Obote is the one who said enough is enough, like I'm saying today. I've taken Obote's position. I took Obote's position long time ago on the question of Biafra. Obote, Nyerere, Kaunda, they stood and said no. Gowan is wrong. Because Gowan was being supported, equipped, supplied by the same Western powers that did not want Nigeria to be Nigeria, because once Biafra became a state, these powers were going to lose out of oil and other minerals that are found in Biafra. It is a shame, therefore, that as much as we want to be united in Africa, we cannot leave one country being killed, natives of this country being killed, maimed, tortured, detained without trial, put in all forms of inhuman treatment that Buhari and his henchmen are doing to the people of Biafra. It is not in my practice as Dr. Matanga to keep quiet, to watch an African country day in, day out, descend into chaos, as it is happening in Biafra today. It is not in my culture, as a man who follows Nyerere, Obote, Jomo Kenyatta, Nkrumah, Baba Tafawa Balewa, and the rest of those who stood for the African unity, to watch a nation go down and say, I am an African. It is for these reasons that I have decided to take on with the horns, catch the horns, tell the people, tell Buhari, you have messed Nigeria. Miriam.
All right, very strong message there. And of course, today is the 30th of May, the Biafrans Heroes Day. Thank you so much, and thank you for writing to us. And I'll just be going through your comments in a short bit. Dr. Matsanga, Biafra, 52 years after the guns were silenced. Are the people silent? And are the guns really silent at this point?
No. The guns are not silent. The guns have been turned on the people of Biafra. Instead of fighting Boko Haram, the guns are coming to fight Biafrans. The man is killing Biafrans, who are Nigerians, who pay taxes, which he eats, buys arms with. He comes down, kills them. He creates an army, a militia called the Boko Haram militia is associated with the general himself. He's told us that within 100 days, he will finish Boko Haram. Show me one Boko Haram you have arrested credibly, who has depleted these men, murderers men, who are killing people in the Maiduguri area of northern Nigeria. Show me. Buhari, show us. Call a press conference and show us where you have kept these men. If you have captured them, you have turned them into the killing machines of the people of the South. You have made them kill the Nigerians who pay tax. You have turned them into killer machines. You are not worth a leader. And all leaders who flew in to witness this swearing-in ceremony are not worth. They are mentally derailed. Thank you.
All right, and when Biafra was a state, and Biafra is a state, other nations which did not, after the declaration of independence from Nigeria, resulted in a civil war between the Biafra and Nigeria. And of course, Biafra was formally recognized at that time with countries like Gabon, Haiti, Ivory Coast, Tanzania,
Uganda.
and Zambia. Yes, Uganda. Even the Vatican City, can you believe that?
Yes.
So how can now Nigeria tell us that this is not a country?
Yeah, because the Buhari has lost it out. Buhari is a French model of the current Africa. Yes, I state my facts. I have evidence. I have evidence that the Total oil is on the side of Buhari. I have evidence that Abuja is doing deals with oil, with the Total oil. Total oil is a French company. Why the French cannot give Amazonians independence is why the French oppose Biafran referendum. It is the Nigerians who are told to go and put a resolution 1608 in the General Assembly of the United Nations General Assembly about Amazonia. But because Obasanjo is a conduit of the French philosophy on the African continent, he refused to do so. Today, as we speak, the Amazonians are equally suffering like Biafrans. It is that factor that every African must look at and assess, find out what is the best that can be done to make sure that we help the people of Biafra. The people of Biafra are caught up between a hard place, a rock, and even hell. There is a bad place and a rock, but there is hell.
There's the rock and
it's hell.
Like
they are being killed. They are being maimed. The younger men, there are no younger men left in Biafra anymore. You see the pictures which I cannot show here. I have evidence coming from all these places of Enugu, all these areas where the army is killing these younger men every day, every morning, every night. They are using them as supper. They are killing them, eating them, mutilating them, cutting their throats. This cannot happen in the 21st century, and we keep quiet.
And of course,
Namdi Khan has said it. I have never seen him. I don't know who he is. I see him in pictures. He's the leader. I don't work with him, but I'm a Pan-African who sees the truth, says the truth, sticks with the truth. If Buhari says he's not killing Biafrans, let him go to an international tribunal with me and say I'm not killing them. If Buhari says he has not been part of Boko Haram, let us go to the international community. Why has Buhari failed to ask for help to destroy Boko Haram? Why?
He said he will deal with it.
Why?
He has not dealt with it yet. And just
why has Buhari failed to ask America to give him arms, airplanes, to bomb Boko Haram, finish them? Why has Buhari allowed the people of Maiduguri area, the Christians in those areas, to be killed? Tell me. Tell me anybody there. It's because he uses the same Boko Haram terrorists to terrorize a group that he doesn't like in the south. What is the group called? Biafrans. Biafrans have become the meat that Buhari eats every day. Biafrans have become the meat that he cuts and enjoys with his wife, stashing 2.5 billion shillings in New York City Bank. While Nigerians don't have an airport, Nigeria has no new road. The roads that were built are still the same roads. Why should a Nigerian leave London, fly 8 hours, and take 20 days to reach his house in Port Harcourt? Because the roads are as poor, as deep. The potholes are crater. This is a crater, not a pothole. The car goes down for 2 days, then comes out after 3 days. That's the state of the affairs in Nigeria today. There are no roads. It earns oil. It makes oil. They eat the oil. Mr. Buhari and his clique and his wives and his concubines, they bank the money in the United States. You saw the list. How can we keep quiet in Africa? Nigeria would be the one feeding all of us. Nigeria would pay for elections of Burundi. Burundi is asking for only $280,000 to conduct an election so that maybe Nkurunziza is removed through a ballot paper. It cannot borrow it. It has to borrow from France. Then France has to tell them, if you don't like us, we shall get you out. Yet we could go to Nigeria and borrow this money. Is Africa bewitched?
Is Africa bewitched indeed? And when you mention the state of even development in Biafra, statistics and even what is on the ground is showing that the federal projects in Biafra have greatly reduced compared to other parts of Nigeria. So basically, the federal government does not care. The larger government of Buhari does not care what's really happening in Biafra land. So if you don't care to take care of the people of some parts of this country and you're still insisting of having them there, what is this with the government of Nigeria?
There is no government in Nigeria. What are you talking about? This is a wrong man. This guy is a clone. You saw his 2 pictures. Production, bring the 2 pictures, let the world see who's the right man. We are meeting a ghost. I told you the animals came and ate his office. If rats in our culture, if rats come to eat you, you are no longer worth it. You resign. The rodents went under ate Buhari's office. This is not the Buhari we have. Jemen, hello. Buhari went away a long time ago. He can't address a meeting. He didn't even give any speech. Because we could find from English that he's not the one.
Yeah, yes, he just took his oath of office and he did not give a speech yesterday when he was being inaugurated for his second term. That is very true. Yes.
I've said the truth. I've said it like a Dr. Milton Obote said it. I've said it like a Nyerere said it. That 52 years ago, Dr. Milton Obote stood and said, enough is enough of African unity, OAU. Let's recognize Biafra. I am today also standing like a Obote, like a Babata Fadalewa, like a Nyerere, like a Gabana Sa, Haile Selassie, Sekuture. I am saying, for us to have peace in Africa and Nigeria, let's recognize, give a referendum to Biafra. That history judge me. I have no regrets, Mr. Buhari. You cannot kill people, allow Boko Haram to kill people. You cannot tell AU to help you. You go around with big gabs everywhere, telling us about nonsense. Completely nonsense. You can threaten Namdi Khan, but not me. You know, the biggest problem here in Africa is this general who overthrew another general. Then he becomes that he calls himself democratic. He's not. This is not democratic. It's like Obasanjo. Obasanjo is a thief. Obasanjo, anywhere you go, he looks for money. Obasanjo sold out to Taylor. Obasanjo is a real bad person, a French Moor. Obasanjo, Kofi Annan, these are dangerous leaders. When you see them near you, run.
And also in another study, in an inter-society study, it was found that Nigerian security forces also extort approximately $100 million per year from illegal roadblocks and other methods from Igbo land. So they will decide to put roadblocks. And they're extorting a lot of money from a section of the country that the government is not even taking care of. So Nigerian police on the other side get approximately about $100 million every year from extortion, from extorting Igbo people.
Of course. And who is the owner of the police?
Mm-hmm. So it's pure suppression.
It's Mr. Jibri. We've lost Buhari. We have Jibri.
It's pure suppression of the Igbo.
It's a sort of state. Mm-hmm. I tell you, it's a sort of state in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. 84 million people, 28 only vote. 84 million voters. 54 million did not vote for Mr. Jibri. Sorry. Because Mr. Jibri is not the real man. We might be talking to a ghost here.
Yes. So while we even discuss this matter, I'd like to know, Biafrans out there, as you're watching us, today, 30th of May, is the Biafrans Heroes Day. Tell us, how are you marking this day? What are the activities that you're doing to commemorate this day? Are they having barbecue? Is it prayers? What is it that you guys are doing today? Because this day is very significant to you guys out there. So tell us how you're marking this day. And are you seated at home, or are you working? And where are you watching us from? Keep writing to us. And I see a lot of you have written to us this afternoon. Or rather, it's evening now. It's 11 minutes past 4 here in Nairobi. And Akudo, you're saying Nigeria is holding down the entire Africa until Biafra is set free. Africa can never be free. Okay. And Chris at Chikosia, you're saying if a man says the truth, he will die. And if he lies, he will still die. So the best it is to say the truth. So he's appreciating your contribution today, Dr. Matanga. That is one of our viewers. And he says, you're saying the truth. So many of them here. Onyekachi Biafra, you're saying, sir, may God bless you for standing for Biafra. Also today is Biafra Heroes Day. Yes, indeed, we know it's Biafra Heroes Day. And how are you marking this day? How is this day important? What kind of significance does this day have mean to you or have for you as a Biafran out there where you're watching us from? So tell us how you're marking this day and how you are celebrating this day. Silemba, you're saying the criminal parading himself as an imposter from Sudan, and Nigeria is a scam. Okay. And Simon Okube, you're saying $100 million annually extorted from Biafrans from roadblocks. Yes, indeed, that is what is happening by the police. So really, these are people that the government is not helping, because as studies and also, it has shown that projects in Biafra land also have been greatly reduced compared to other parts of Nigeria. The government does not really care so much about the development of that part of the country. And so there's some level of negligence, and there's some level of, the government really does not care from the citizens from that part of Nigeria. And Elvis Lienya saying, you shall live long, sir. Biafra shall remember you. We appreciate what you're doing for Biafra. All right, keep writing. And also yesterday, Emma Powerful, one of the publicity secretary for Biafra, and also a very renowned figure in Biafra. I think he hosts a morning show in Biafra radio. I've heard him sometimes back, and he said a clear demonstration to oppressors and collaborators and traitors alike that no amount of abductions, arrests, and killings will stop the IPOB. Today's day, because the government had come down and said, especially the leadership in Enugu State, and said anybody who will be involved in this will have to face the ruthless hand of the law. But in a rejoinder, he said they're not going to be cowed. They're ready to go out there and express themselves and to commemorate this day whichever way they choose and find fit. And so you can see that, Dr. Matanga, Biafrans are really determined to have their own independence. There's no stopping.
There is no stop. Mm-hmm. The train left the station
long time ago.
We got reprieve in 1967. The war ended.
1970 years.
70. Three war in 1970. Before Obote was overthrown, Biafrans had settled down. Now, where things stand, even the European Union Britain is seeking to be on its own. Therefore, Britain cannot come to Nigeria and lecture for unity. British government cannot tell us, unite, unite. That was the slogan. Yet they have gone back to divide and rule tactics of dismembering themselves from Europe. The doctrine of divide and rule has rekindled itself. Therefore, what is difficult for Nigeria to rekindle itself and the Biafrans to ask for their referendum. If that is what is going to make them happy, so be it. You can stagger the departure. You can stagger their departure.
It can turn.
But yes.
But surely it shall come to pass.
Yes. Stagger their departure after they have voted. And they say you live in 2020, 2030. They will live with the dream to say we shall live. You can stagger their departure in 5 years. Say, okay, while we are putting institutions of governing Nigeria, or Biafra and Nigeria, let's do this in 5 years to separate. The marriage between Nigeria and Biafra is no more.
Ended long time ago.
The guns are there now. The only problem is that the Biafrans are the ones being slaughtered. There is no Ojukwu anymore.
But he took off and he went to another country. Is it Cote d'Ivoire or where? Ivory Coast, I think.
Ojukwu is not there.
Yeah.
Now,
but he died
there is no Ojukwu there.
Yes.
So what Buhari is trying to do is to force another Ojukwu to emerge. Yes. Because people are not going to sit and watch.
Yes.
You killing their people every day. No.
Yes, and I can see even our viewers here, a lot of them have been affected and have lost even loved ones from the war that has been incurring. Because really, truthfully, the guns might have stopped in 1970 after 3 years of brutal killings of Biafrans that saw them die in millions. But we report here the deaths that happen in Biafra land nearly every morning. So the guns have not stopped.
Look, the difference with 67 was that this was conventional army fighting another section of the army. The difference here today with it is that these are terrorists who have been hired by Buhari from the north. Instead of fighting Boko Haram, they are fighting Biafrans. They are killing Biafrans. Yet Boko Haram is busy killing people. Buhari is not directing his army to finish Boko Haram, but he's directing the army to slaughter Biafrans. That's the problem there.
Okay.
That's the problem there with Nigeria. And the African Union is watching helplessly. Oh my God.
They're not even paying attention.
There is no African Union. African Union is captured. This tall man from Chad is the same Jebri. He looks like a Jebri from Sudan. He's the one.
Jebril is light.
Yeah, the tall guy from African Union.
From Chad is dark.
Since he took over that African Union, I swore never to go to Addis Ababa until he's removed. Then I will fly to Addis Ababa.
When is his term ending? When
yes.
Is Muhammad's term ending?
In 1 year.
Then
I will go to... I refuse to go for African Union. My invitation is always there as a special guest of African Union. I've gone to AU for 26 years. 26.
And someone just said their AU is a joke, so maybe we should stop going completely until we see serious
until we remove Mr. Muhammad Faki.
Serious reforms.
Yes.
And maybe after Al-Sisi's out as a chairman.
Do you know what? Until French stop funding us for our bread in the wardrobe. You know?
Yes.
The French have captured African Union. There is nothing there. There's nothing there. Until you give something to Matanga, I can run African Union better. That man from Chad is not worth it. Look at the way he has allowed Libya to go. Look at Libya. Look at Libya. You Africans, surely. You Africans, are you bewitched? Are you Africans bewitched? Are you mad? Look at what has happened in Libya. We recognize one government. We allow a general who has got an American passport to drive his army in the desert, go and kill people in Tripoli. Is that African Union?
Capture another rebel and bring it to another legitimate president in Egypt. Like, how does a rebel from... Just help me explain this. I know you're not talking about that, but I read it yesterday in the news and we were equally shocked, so we did not talk much about it. Haftar captures this rebel, hands it over to a government in Egypt.
Yes.
As if he's the government.
Because the government in Egypt is supporting General Khalifa Haftar.
Okay. Yes.
And the government of United Arab Emirates, I think it is
Emirates.
They call Emirates or United Arab what?
That one.
Is it
United Arab?
These guys who walk in the desert walk Africa buying gold.
All right, so I'd ask
you see,
our viewers.
As Africans, time has come for us to have people to speak. The Nkrumahs used to speak. There are no more Nkrumahs. We are left very few of us talking. I am an East African, but Miriam, I feel so pained when I see the death toll in Biafra. When I see the death toll in Tripoli. When I see children dying because they cannot drink ocean water of Mediterranean Sea. Haftar has blown the entire sanitation system of Tripoli, supported by France, Egypt, UAE, and watched by United States over Mediterranean ships, watching this man, giving him logistics, killing Libyans. We have killed Gaddafi, now we are killing their people, we are finishing everything. In Biafra, we are killing people, they are killing. Americans issue statements. Biafra is going to be killed. All the engineers in the United States are from Biafra. All the medical doctors, all aerospace, those top going to the moon are Biafrans. Maybe the United States wants us to finish Biafrans into USA. They don't want to help us. I'm telling you the truth today.
All right. Earlier on, I'd asked our viewers from Biafra how they chose to commemorate this day, and I've seen lots of your responses here. And Achiaboton Duboisi, thank you for watching. And you're saying it was a day and call for sober reflection and faith to believe that one day Biafra will be a reality. And Ikemsi Nachi Noafo, you're saying 3 years ago, I lost 5 of my friends to Nigeria Army who came to kill us at St. Edmund, a church in Por, Anambra State, just to stop us from celebrating our heroes who died to keep us. So this day is very significant, and you can see it's deep reflection. Ejiogu Ogochuku, you're saying we are inculcating to our young ones that what really happened during the Civil War as we sit at home today to honor our fallen heroes. God bless you, Dr. Matsanga, and long life. So we can see that this day is quite significant to these people from Biafra land. And I would be interested to see how it's being commemorated in the rest of Nigeria. Do they even care? Do they even take time to just even 1 minute of silence in remembrance of this day and the many people that died, at the start of the war in Nigeria?
You know what? God just help us. God must come out and sort some mess in Africa. We have a mess. One of the messes in Africa is around that tropical area of Cameroon and Biafra. The other side, Amazonians are being killed. The other upper side, Biafrans are being maimed. So we have a mess around there. When you go north of Nigeria, the Mandiguri area, there is a Sahara region, there are terrorists there. Who brought these terrorists? The country is well known. We have talked and talked and talked. Can there be a solution for Nigeria, for Biafra? The only solution for Biafra is to allow them to go. Let them mess. Whether you allow them to vote yes, they want to stay, they will vote. If they will allow them to vote no, which I believe that 99.9% will vote to leave. So it has worried Buhari, and Buhari cannot accept any referendum in Nigeria.
Yes, indeed. And of course, when the Biafra War started in 1967, it was intense, lasted for 3 years in 1970, and a lot of Igbos were killed. Women, children, men lost their lives in this war. And just a brief history, remember we mentioned before, Biafran's declaration of independence from Nigeria resulted into a civil war, and there are countries that really supported this. That includes Gabon, Haiti, Ivory Coast, Tanzania, Zambia, even Uganda. And also there are countries that actually provided support for Biafra Biafra. That included Israel, France, Spain, Portugal, Norway, Rhodesia, South Africa, Vatican City. So this is a state that was actually recognized by a lot of other countries across the world. And during this time, the government had blocked any help to go to Biafra land, as it has done until today, marginalization.
Yes.
So when one doctor went there and he was there at that time and saw how much children were dying from malnutrition, simple illnesses were killing people from Biafra, the International Humanitarian Organization, Medicines Sans Frontier. Do you know it was started in Biafra land?
Yes. You know what? The Dr. Bernard Concha is a French doctor. These books are available. You can see that the killings started a long time. The scheme to kill these guys has been there. Buhari is just doing the same what he did while he was in the army. Remember, Buhari fought on the side of Gowan. Obasanjo fought on the side of Gowan. Buhari, Abacha, all these guys were on the side of Gowan. So every successful army man, even if there is one called Abdal Salam, a short-lived general who was also overthrown. That he is nowadays a Democrat. You find him somewhere in AU walking with his full dress, a Democrat. Democrat from where? These are the people who have brought the agony of these people of Africa. They have made Africa a place where you think you should not live, but live in a nest, in a tree. If the tree is not cut. You know, in Africa we are killing everything. Trees are being cut. If you say you don't want a house on the ground, you build one on a tree, they will cut it. We are taking everything to China. We are cursed. How many trees go out of Nigerian tropics? But Nigeria itself cannot make a toothpick. Can it shame you as an African? All the trees are exported through to China. Then we go to China. You find Nigerians loaded in China Airline, Kenya Airline. They are going to buy toothpicks from China. And yet the toothpicks came from their trees. That's the Africa we have. I'm told there is no audio.
Tom Onyadoki, DK, sorry.
We shall correct it. Is it there now?
Yes, and here Mark Chinet using you came late. Well, just on time. Watch, and you can always play back because this show will still be on.
No audio.
You can still play back the show. Chinonso Bina, you're watching us all the way from Norway. So we can see the history of Biafra. So this is not just a fallacy, something out there, a small thing that as people take it, this is a country that was a state that was recognized from the start with a lot of nations out there. And of course, as you mentioned before, the famous medical body, international body, Medicines Sans Frontier, started in Biafra because the Dr. Bernard Kouchner had visited that time and he saw how Biafrans were being mistreated. The sick were not being treated, and so he went back to France very angry, and he mobilized other French doctors, and they came back and started treating Biafrans, and that's how they wanted a medical body that was free from political or anything, any sort of influence, and they just went there to treat Biafrans, and that is how Medicines Sans Frontier was born. And from there, he made sure that he put Biafra in the media spotlight and called for international response to the situation that was happening at that time in Biafra land. So it's a long history of suffering and marginalization by the Nigerian people, Nigerian government. And you wonder, you marginalize these people. The infrastructure in that part of the world is just off. The federal government does not even care.
Look.
And you still insist on having them.
Last year on this show, a Nigerian called me, a Biafran man called me, that he left London for Christmas to reach his village. He reached his village when the New Year celebrations were over. and it took him only 8 hours from London to Lagos, or 6 hours, whatever the time is. But it took him almost 20 days to arrive his village in southeast Nigeria. Why? There are no roads, there is no airfield, there is no airport, there is no railway. People have been hammering the money. Buhari sits in Abuja, orders for money to go and do border research. How to change, yeah, there is border research to change a human being to another one. Our money went there.
It's called plastic surgery.
I don't know what is plastic memory or surgery.
Yes.
I am not, you know me when it comes to talking about Buhari, I don't want to mention my name. Look, there is no road there. There is no infrastructure. There are no schools. There are no buildings. There is no housing. There are no hospitals. You have, it's a zoo. It's a zoo. In short, it's a zoo where animals are kept that they feed on each other. If you have a tick, the body will come and take the tick. Animals feed on each other. That's Nigeria for you.
Natural habitat.
Yes,
That's
natural habitat.
That's how it works. Dominic Nondo, you're watching from Germany. Guten Tag. Here it's a Guten Abend. It's evening, so
there is no life there. That's why you find most Nigerians are in London, in Washington, in Europe.
And so, let me tell you, now that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You remember when CNN did an expose about a lot of Nigerians being sold in Libya? Guess where majority of them were coming?
Nigeria, Biafra.
Yes.
They are escaping.
Being sold as slaves.
If soldiers are coming to in your village, cutting your throat,
you'll escape.
Putting you, tying your legs, and rolling your bodies across the village when the car is going at 100 miles, is that not a punishment enough for Yemen? Should we wait for who is going to speak for us? Who? Who is going to speak for Africa? People are suffering. People are doing minimal jobs in Europe. The jobs that we could not do in Africa. People are carrying dead bodies in city mortuaries. Africans were proud people. But because Buhari has made it difficult that he sends out people to get out, he makes conditions so difficult for Nigeria, for Biafrans to stay. They are finding jobs that you should not, an African should not do, in African dignity. It is a shame for Africa, a shame for AU, a shame for ECOWAS, a shame for Buhari or Juburi, whoever.
And even a shame for the United Nations Security Council, because these are the matters that they get to deal with, and nobody has even ever raised this matter. We see them now trying to deal with what is happening in the Anglophone region, Ambazonia region, but Biafra matter has never even featured in the UN Security Council. Why not?
It can't. The superpowers that benefit from this oil will not accept that thing to come there. They are permanent members. Next week, I will deal with the question, why were these 5 members called permanent members and we in Africa are not called permanent? Are we subhuman?
You only have, the other 15 only have 1 term. Is it
Yes.
2 years?
Are we subhuman? That's the topic I'm going to deal with next week. Why is there permanent membership on the UN Security Council and we in Africa are half-half? We are visitors in the Security Council. Why?
We are visitors.
Yeah, we are visitors.
Yes, you serve your time, you leave. You serve your time.
No, you are a visitor.
But we have the 5 permanent
Miriam,
members.
you are a visitor.
Yes.
Whether you are serving 2 years, you are a visitor in the Security Council.
Yes.
Why? Why is Africa not represented on the United Nations Security Council? Are we subhuman?
And how they sit down and delegate and talk.
Is our blood green?
Deliberate about our matters, especially here in Africa, and we don't get to have a say in that.
We have nothing. Then Trump, you know, Trump, look at Trump. Can Trump be a village leader in Africa?
No, he cannot. Not with that.
Trump does not qualify to be a village leader in Africa.
Not with that kind
because the type of talk that he talks, he can't be given village leadership.
No, he can't. He cannot unite a village.
Yeah.
Forget a country. Eji Keme, you're watching from the UK. And Michael, you're watching from Michael Ekpoaku, you're watching from India. And Okafor, you're watching from Biafra. We have our
Can you imagine that?
All over the place. Mekiz Efeneko, you're watching from Spain. Chukwunwike, you're watching from India. And oh my goodness, the Biafrans today have come out. And Chuku Jiuba, you're watching from Paris. All over the place. Edison Emeka, you're watching from Egypt. Okay, see?
Look at Biafra. Nigeria owns China 300 billion.
Nigeria owns China.
Yeah, China owns only how much? 75?
And they have oil. I don't understand.
Yes. How can a country with the richest country in Africa with oil own China?
Yeah.
Own China 300. It owns China 300 billion.
Like
dollars.
I keep saying, we joke too much here in Africa.
So
that does not make sense.
In 10 years, Chinese will be swimming in the swamps of Port Harcourt.
Oh no, not Port Harcourt.
There will be Kung Fu. That's why Nigerians are saying they better organize their Biafra and leave the rest to do what they want to do. Because Chinese are going to give us Kung Fu in Africa here.
You know,
I've told you, have you learned your Kung Fu lessons?
I know karate.
Karate, that's Japanese.
Yes.
We need Kung Fu.
No, karate is more deadly.
Okay.
Emeka Samuel, you're watching us.
Because it looks Africa is going to be taken over.
So let me go to the safe side. Japan. And Mark Bada Chimaobi, you're watching from Germany. Guten Tag to you this afternoon. It's evening here. Ich bin Abend over here. Thank you. So, yeah. And Chika Onwa, you're saying from Lagos, Nigeria to East is more than 20 days journey through transport due to bad roads. 20 days journey.
Exactly. There you are. I am not looking in the notes. I'm telling you, so 20 days.
And something also worrying here. Ekem Sinachi Noafo, you're saying, no, doctor, they caught you, they pour raw acid on you so that your body can't be recovered by your family. That is what Nigeria Police Army are doing now. Now they stopped cutting the hands. Now they just pour acid on you. How inhumane is this? That is terrible. That is really terrible. Chimara, Emeka, you're watching us. You've not said where you're watching us, but Cordelia Ume, you're watching us from Maryland. In Maryland, that is in Washington, D.C., right? In the U.S. All right. Thank you. And thank you so much for writing to us. And tell us what you're doing today in commemoration of Biafran's Heroes Day. George Korea, you're watching from Switzerland. And who is this? Michael Okpala, you're watching from Ghana, and the rest of you from Denmark and China and across the world. So Biafrans have been forced to leave their country and go out there to seek for a safe haven because it's no longer safe to be in your own motherland.
You can't.
What a sad state of
it's a very bad
affairs.
State. It's a very bad state.
And a lot of them are dying in the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, not a lot. Very many, millions. Hundreds of Africans, if you count how many who have perished.
Biafrans and also Eritreans. I think
Eritreans.
Yes.
As if we have divided each other, the East and the West.
Yes.
In the Horn of Africa, we have Eritrea. In the other hump of Africa. That's the hump. This is the Horn.
Yes.
We have Nigeria, Biafra, producing people dying in
Yes, indeed. Uchenna and Nairobi Samuel, you're saying a good talk, my chairman, and I'm watching from Nigeria, zoo capital Abuja, Nigeria. And Ken Black Gold, you're saying you're watching from Australia. All right, Sam Don.
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.
If you have any contribution that you can put on our PayPal, it is there. PayPal, any contribution. It can help us to send more investigative journalists into Biafra to bring us information. Bring back that PayPal account again so that you drop in whatever you have. It even a penny, $1, $2, $10, they will help. All of you, even if it's $1 each, it will help us. Go to the PayPal. We want to go into there to expose the truth, to bring out the truth. We want to help. It doesn't need only Nigerians to shout out. Our station has been steadfast on doing so. So anybody who wants to contribute, do their contribution. The PayPal is there. Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity, unless you have any other closing remarks.
No, mine is just to appreciate our viewers out there. And of course, tomorrow we will be back here with the Good Morning Africa. And in case there's something that has happened today in Biafra, as you even commemorate this day, the Biafra Heroes Day, please feel free and write to us and give us the latest, and we shall share with our viewers tomorrow. I want to thank all of you. If you're watching from New York, I can't even read, like, you're so many others from Trinidad and Tobago,
Denmark,
Iceland, Denmark,
all Biafrans from Denmark,
from Brazil. Like, it's so many of you out here, and we really want to thank you. Sam Oboji, you're watching from Malaysia. I can't go through the whole list. There's so many of you. So I just want to thank you so much for engaging with us this afternoon. Continue enjoying Biafran's Heroes Day, and please, whatever you're doing, make sure you take utmost, you take care of yourself and make sure you're safe, and we see you here tomorrow.
Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank my viewers. There comes a time when you play, you set a stage, you leave the stage for others to play. I have done my best to bring out the difficulties that the people of Biafra are undergoing today. That is my role as a Pan-African, a man who has stood firm to struggle for all ills against Africa. One Africa, one person dead is big enough for us to complain. We call upon General Buhari to just allow a referendum. Allow the people to decide their destiny. God will not be annoyed to send more rats to your offices. But if you stick and refuse the people, continue killing them, sending army down south instead of sending army north to conquer Boko Haram, God will be annoyed and they will take a toll. Thank you very much. Continue watching. You can rewatch, replay it. That's the best that we can do for today. The war that ended in 1967, 52 years ago, the war ended, but the people are not silent. With that note, this station, therefore, is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa, Charles.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.